Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Theory of Racelessness YouTube channel. If you'd like to see more, make sure to like and subscribe to our channel and click the bell icon to get notified every time we post a new video. To get even more involved, feel free to leave us a comment down below and share your thoughts. We'd love to hear them. Now, enjoy the video.
Because we might come to find that actually America isn't as racist as we might presume it is based on what we're shown by the media largely.
Whoa, hold on there. You're gonna give me a heart attack. The media is never willing to lie to us about something that important, would they?
Well, Jim, something you said earlier made me think about this too. It's like I tend to agree that most people aren't disingenuous in their beliefs or their efforts. I think many people are well-intended, across the board, very well-intended people who are just coming at the problem from different angles. But because of how we're taught in this country, and this goes to the fundamental reason why our primary school and secondary school education and the curriculum and what we're teaching our children and passing on to them and what they're inheriting is really important. Because if it is such that the average person is taught to the average racialized Black person, let's say, I'll use myself as an example. If I'm taught to view myself through a particular lens, and I'm told that that lens is how the country I'm born in views me and everyone who looks like me, then that is going to have an impact on me, even if it doesn't literally put a ceiling in place for me, even if I still view myself as being capable of anything, right? Even if I take pride in my so-called Blackness and I embrace it and I fight against racism, there's a way in which I've met many people and I've felt this way myself. There's a way in which, despite the practical utility that the idea of race can have and has had for some people in this country, if we are largely in those feelings or having those feelings because of misinformation, because of the way in which we're not encouraged to question our ideas and our assertion of America as being a racist country, because we know the history. And so it just makes sense to some people's ears that, yeah, America is a racist country. Then I am precluding myself from accessing the truth, which can lead to my psychological empowerment and in actualization. And part of how this came through, I don't know if I told you this story, Jim, but a story I've shared with students is that there was a time, because I was so entrenched in understanding racism and because I've experienced explicit and violent racism, like actual assault and everything, when I was a kid and a teenager, because I've lived those things and then because I study those things, I felt like I was a second-class citizen. And I looked at symbols like the American flag, and I would feel some kind of like twang in my heart. I would feel like an outsider in a country that I simultaneously really loved, but that I really sincerely believed hated me, didn't like me. And I did adopt a sense of pride in my so-called race for those reasons, because I overcame every obstacle. I didn't become a statistic, and I could have easily been a statistic, should have been a statistic, but I didn't. And I attributed all of that to my so-called race. And I viewed myself as a Black person, really and truly, to the point of when my knowledge started showing me something else, I wanted to resist it initially because it was painful. It was painful to acknowledge that the way I saw myself wasn't the way forward and wasn't the best thing for me and for my children. And all the way up until very recently, I was staunchly, looking at a thing like an American flag on somebody's house and feeling sad, just sad, and feeling like that person, whoever lives there, telling myself the whole story, that person, whoever lives there, they don't like people who look like me, or they don't like me, and feeling hurt because of that. I wanted to celebrate the 4th of July. And I have 2-year-old triplets. And up until this past year, I was like, we're not going to barbecues. We're not doing it. I don't want them to be blind patriots or whatever. And I something clicked for me about a year ago where I recognized my skepticism. I had already been an eliminativist, but I was a constructionist eliminativist. And I started recognizing my skepticism. And all of a sudden, I just felt my mind and my heart open to everything that I've now uncovered as capital T true. And part of that discovery was, while I have adopted a sense of pride in my so-called race, and I viewed that as my identity, I adopted that pride largely because I had so many hardships growing up and I was able to overcome it. So I felt prideful about it. But what benefit would my 2-year-old, triplets have in me passing on any of this ideology, any of this angst, any of this pain? It is not their responsibility to carry this torch, especially if it's a torch that I'm coming to find is one that is dimming. It's not even a torch that is shining as brightly as people would have a big portion of our society believe. And so I told my wife, bring out the American flags. And we're celebrating the 4th of July. And she's hilarious. I love her. She's hilarious because she bought at least 7 American flag outfits for our triplets this year, 7 each. She was just waiting for the green light. And, I was like, you know what, I'm going to raise my children to be skeptical eliminativists, because to think we can raise our children to be ideologically neutral is inaccurate. They're going to pick up the ideology of the society. And I don't want them racializing themselves in these ways that really don't benefit them. There are certain people, Jem, who think it benefits them because, again, it helps them feel empowered at different moments of their lives, and it helps give them solace and comfort, and it helps give them inspiration. But a lot of that is misplaced because that tenacity and resilience is the part of the human experience and existence, and not a racial one, right? And part of that is our Americanness too, which I think gets underplayed and underestimated. I'm not a hyphen American. I am an American. And so long as I view myself as outside of America or as a second-class citizen, and it's also not reality, born in actual data and information, then I am incarcerating my own self. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. I'm making myself a second-class citizen because I believe that I am. It's not America doing it to me. I'm doing it to myself. And so theory of racelessness benefits not just racialized white people from being miscategorized as racist and problematic and all of the things that have come to be associated with whiteness, but it also helps people racialized not as white to see themselves more clearly, and to see society more clearly, and to see their place in society more clearly. Because there are too many misconceptions and too much misinformation out there that persist, that seem true. But if we help people to the capital T truth, we would come to find that the healing and reconciliation has already been in progress, underway, right? And we would come to find ourselves reconciling and healing in ways that race ideology precludes, because we would come to see, oh, this idea that I have in my head about my status in place in society, it was true historically, but actually we've made immeasurable progress. And actually the sort of discrepancies that we see happening in society probably don't have anything to do with racism, if we're being honest.
No, and you brought up one of the things that I think from a previous discussion we had that is part of the pathway out. And it's the idea that we are all Americans first, and that there is, as we try to find our tribe of whatever flavor, and please, any of the actual people who understand sociology, don't blame Sheena for this. All right. This is all my misuse of the words to try and convey an idea, but we're all looking to be part of a team or a tribe or a community or whatever. And in doing that, like I said, my tribe has always been American. I never questioned that. And I am blessed to the extent that I enjoy white privilege. Okay, I will say that's an element of it, because it never occurred to me in any way, shape, or form to question that. You were literally physically forced to confront whether or not that was true for you. And I hate that. I wish that hadn't happened, but the fact that you got past it to put your kids in American flag outfits makes my heart explode. That is beautiful to me. And I don't want people to have to suffer in any way to come to that conclusion. I think part of that can be starting with the idea now that we all share American ethnicity of some flavor. America can be all of our tribe in whatever way that fits in the sociological, perspective. And then we can say, okay, well, culturally, I'm a little Black, or whatever other ethnic flavors you want to put in the pot, however you want to add the things that make you uniquely you. I'm Swedish. We brought meatballs and Viking ships and all kinds of other wonderful things. Okay. That's not all that great, really, but whatever. There are other, cultures and ethnicities that brought different things to the country that I value, that I think make America a better place, that I don't think I'm appropriating when I like. I'm enjoying them. I'm exploring them. I'm showing them respect as opposed to stealing and demeaning a different culture. I've traveled the world. I've been to 36 or so countries. I've lived and worked with people of every flavor. All right. And I like them or dislike them based on the way they are, not the way they look. And I like and dislike different parts of their culture and food and cultural practices based on whether they're good or bad, and I don't prejudge them based on whether they have the same, kind of peachy with a tinge of pink skin tone that I have, whatever that makes me. I don't think that's the defining characteristic of me or my tribe or America. And I think to the extent we can start from there and say, we as Americans acknowledge two things. This is the greatest country there ever was, and we screwed it up at the start, and we've been working to make it better. Okay. And we're not going to sugarcoat that. We're going to teach our kids that that's how it was. And then we're going to tell them, but that doesn't apply to you. That's something you need to know so we don't screw up and backslide and do bad things again. And in the course of that, you are now responsible for being a good person. You're responsible for being a good member of your community, and you're responsible for being a good American. Enjoy what you got, because you got the golden ticket.
Thanks for watching. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to support our channel and keep the conversation going. For more Theory of Racelessness, you can follow us on Twitter @Racelessness or use the link in the description box down below. We hope you enjoyed this video, and as always, there is still so much more to come. Until then, thank you so much from the Theory of Racelessness. Have a great day.